What is happening, YouTube? This is Dave Croft. It has been a minute since I've done a cue breakdown, and I wanted to return to it by showing and unpacking one of my absolute favorite types of cues to write. That is the Intrigue tension cue, unapologetically and unashamedly inspired by and using the sounds, textures, harmonies of one Mr. Thomas Newman. So this cue that we're going to look at today is called Run the Table, and it was written just a few weeks ago for an upcoming golf documentary, and it features some of the techniques that Thomas Newman does in his scores. And so we are going to check it out. We're going to talk about the sounds. We're going to talk about the harmonic language, maybe some of the melodic language, as well as the arrangements for Run the Table. So that was Run the Table, and anytime I set out to write a Thomas Newman type of a sounding cue, Thomas Newman type of a cue, I am bringing a couple of things to the table. And this isn't really based off of any deep academic study, rather than just impressions based off of listening and referencing. And so marimba, thank you, American Beauty, brought marimba right to the forefront. The concept of planing harmony, where you have chords, usually major chords, moving up and down by whole step and underneath other harmonies as they're occurring, and the use of modal and modality. In this case, I am using C Dorian. So instead of standard C minor, I am in C Dorian, which is the minor scale with the raised sixth scale degree. Also, Thomas Newman, anytime I'm writing a Thomas Newman-y type of a cue, it usually means that I'm bringing some really transient percussion type sounds. And I found some really interesting things to use for my transient percussion. This is in many of his cues, he uses tabla and Middle Eastern and Indian percussions. It works really, really well. And the other thing that I love that he does, which is introducing and incorporating electric bass into an otherwise orchestral sound. And so you kind of blend all of these together, toss in some electronic wind instruments, some iwi that he loves to use, which I don't have feature into here. I don't play iwi. And you have some really, really unique sounds. And I am absolutely in love with his work. He is easily one of my top 3 most influential composers. I hold him right up there next to Alan Silvestri. And everything he does is absolutely fantastic. So starting out of the gate, my piano sounds are actually 2 layered piano sounds with this modal C minor going from a C minor sound to the F major sound, right? And that is that A natural in the key of C minor. That's the C Dorian sound. And so I have 2 pianos that I am layering here. The first is the noir piano, which I really, really like. but I've also layered it with the piano in blue, which is the Cinesamples piano sampled the Steinway that was used on Kind of Blue, played by Bill Evans, which is a little dark and a little affected to stand on its own, but to blend these together, I think creates a really interesting sound. All right. And so we come out of the gate with my melodic motif, which is already hinting at some of these Thomas Newmanisms. I'm trying to play this, but Ozone is lagging here. That is getting that planed type of melody. Right? You can see it's moving up. It's that minor third going up to the major third. Sprinkle in another little top melody. All right, so that is my ostinato. It's going to be cooking along all the way throughout my A sections. Then, after a handful of phrases, I bring in the marimba. Which the marimba isn't playing the full bum 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 bum. It's not playing the full, it's just playing the accents of that pattern. Bum 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 bum. It's just too much to have the piano straight up doubling. And so when you're layering sounds like this, I highly encourage you to not just wholesale copy and paste. Like, just don't wholesale copy and paste and call it a day. All right, it's just too much. So go ahead and give the marimba its own part. All right, so that ostinato melody is cooking all the way through. I have added this ticky sounding percussion. These are boomwhackers from Sonic Couture's Imogen Heap's box of tricks, which I think sound absolutely marvelous. They are kind of like PVC type, Blue Man Group type sounds. And just playing along, adding in some octaves. And then when the chords change, here. Harmonic motion. We'll talk about the harmony here in just a second. All right. I have this other pad which is coming through. I have some Omnisphere pads that I brought to the table here. And the reason this one's bounced into place is I had some issues with, even though it's on the beat, there's a gate to it, and the gate wasn't super consistent. And I spent a lot of time fighting it and trying to line it up, and this just dawned on me. Why don't I just bounce it to audio and shift it into place? But it is an Omnisphere patch. It is another unfinished patch from the Amara library. There's that guy. And this guy, another Amara patch. I believe this is an Amara. Yep. So just some synth pads to kind of to provide some glue underneath this ostinato. All right, so we have our ticky tack, we have our pad glue, we have our melody all cooking along. Let's skip over and let's look at this bass. This is a J bass, a jazz bass from Native Instruments, and it sounds really nice. I love the J bass because you have the option to use either the neck position or the bridge position, or both, as I'm using here. Now you'll notice in the EQs I have pulled off quite a bit of low end because I have my tried and true orchestral sub underneath, which is providing the real meat. And this orchestral sub is nothing than an empty sampler patch from which once was the EXS, but now just the Logic sampler, and that is providing that super low end. So you can see where that's coming through. Well, that's cutting off right there, and so try to kind of bring them all together. Right. So holding out some low notes at the beginning, but then after the intro, about 30 seconds or so, it starts playing boom, boom, starts playing some more syncopated patterns. I have a tinglik, which I like the tinglik. It's kind of this this instrument with these bamboo tubes. It sounds almost like a marimba, but hollower, and I think it really works well. Have some glitch percussion here, also from Omnisphere. You can see I was using a lot of the Amara sounds here. Recorded some cymbal taps. Which was me taking some guitar picks and kind of draping myself over a suspended cymbal and tapping on them. I do have some cymbal scrapes, which are some finger picks. These are some banjo picks, and just kind of scraping along. They work really well. I like them because I can scrape them one way and they sound kind of dull. I can turn them around, scrape them the other way, and get a really harsher sound. I do have some bowed cymbal. Putting those at some phrase points. And then I needed like an interesting clave sound, and I recorded some batteries. These are some, I don't think these are the actual batteries, but some AAA batteries. Proving that you can create like a percussion instrument out of basically anything. So you put all of the percussion together. Yeah, and I'm actually playing these. I've got some batteries here. I'm playing them like claves, like with some actual clave technique. And if you care about this, you can't just kind of hold and kind of do like a gorilla grip on claves. You're choking the sound, so you have to kind of cup your hand underneath it, creating a little space there, and then versus. Right, that's not going to give you the sound you want, but if you cup underneath it, you get like a little clave. And it sounds pretty unique. Plus the glitch percussion. And that all sounds like this. Back this up, add in the bass and the tinglik, and my rhythm section all sounds like this. That cymbal scrape just here comes the cymbal taps into the key change. And you can see that suspended cymbal I tuned down -10, and that gave it a very like haunting quality. Just hit it with the mallet and it gave it that very haunting quality. Now I do have some strings in here because, like I said, what would it be? It wouldn't be a Thomas Newman cue without some strings. So that is my entirety of my A section. All building, introduce my melody, and layer in every phrase, add new energy to the cue, either by adding new sounds or adding density into the sounds that we already have. And so as I go into my chord change, I bring in my strings. Right? This major chord, because the raised 6th scale degree in the Dorian scale creates the major 4 chord. The 4 chord typically in a minor key is minor, but if you're in Dorian, then it is a major 4 chord, and this gives you the sense of hope in what is otherwise a tense type of sound, and using that major tone adds that element of hope that I feel is present in many of Thomas Newman's scores. Also, if you use the Mixolydian scale, which is the major scale with the flat 7, adds a little hint of melancholy into what is otherwise a major sound. It's using those modes, finding the shiny note, if you will. If it's Dorian, it's going to be that raised 6th scale degree. If it's Mixolydian, it's that flat 7. If you're in Lydian, it's a major scale with a raised 4th scale degree. And that's the shiny note, right? That's the sparkly, non-diatonic to the major or minor key, non-diatonic note that you should take advantage of and bring in whatever other chord qualities it puts on the table. So if you are in Dorian mode, then that means that the raised 6th scale degree makes your minor chord, your minor 4 chord, a major 4 chord. And so when I go to that chord, and then I settle back down. And so this is all building until we get into our breakdown. So during my breakdown, leave the melody behind and let the rhythm section just cook. Let's add my battery clave, some marimba, and now here comes some planing harmonies. Okay, so I'm hanging around on a C minor sound, but I have an E flat major chord to F major chord. Hanging on C minor, but E flat to the F. Goes up. All right, my breakdown's over. Reintroduce the melody, strip away the energy. I'm going to reintroduce the harmony. I don't quite go back to the opening energy level, but I want to pull the energy back just so I can turn around and whip it forward. Notice my boom whackers are cooking along. Some 2-bar layering. Into my chord change. This is the same chord change we saw here in bar 25. Notice I've added my battery clave. So we have an A, B, A plus B type of a sound. Cooking along, you see those low strings really sit on a nice juicy, and into the button, making sure that everything really blooms right there at the end. So like I said, whenever I sit to write anything like Thomas Newman inspired, usually means some marimbas, electric bass, love all the ticky percussion, and love those planed harmonies, and I love writing modally, writing in a specific mode, whether it's Dorian or Lydian or Mixolydian. What about you? Have you ever dabbled in the Thomas Newman style? I would love to hear about it. And what are some takeaways that you found from studying his compositions? And what are some of your favorite Thomas Newman scores? For me, one of my favorite, believe it or not, I have two. One is The Judge with Robert Downey Jr. and Robert Duvall. I don't think many people saw it, but it's a stellar soundtrack. And also Passengers, which I think is a very underrated movie and an even more underrated soundtrack. But that is Run the Table. I hope you enjoyed that. And if you have any thoughts, suggestions, questions, or comments, please let me know in the comments below. I do make every effort to read those. Well, I do read those and I make every effort to respond. So that's going to do it for me today. Until next time, peace.